All right, what's going on, beautiful people? So we're back with another one. Today we got a lead generation guru, I like to say, right? Only reason because I've talked to this individual a couple times and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to lead generation. So I mean, I've had conversations with him in the past, and everything he says is just so on point and so much knowledge that he has behind. So I figured, hey, why not bring him on here, have these conversations live with you guys, and maybe you guys can grab something from the knowledge that he shares with everybody. So let me go ahead and bring him on. Mr. Doyle Cook, can you hear me okay?
I can. How are you?
Doing good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. It's a pleasure. Thank you for definitely coming on. So, like I said earlier, I know you have a lot of knowledge in the whole lead generation world,
hmm
and a lot of knowledge in other things as well. That I'm like, hey, you know what? It'd be great to have you on here. So, I mean, my first question that I like to ask every single guest is, why lead generation?
Why lead? That's a great question. I like that one. I wasn't expecting that to be your first question. I was like, give me your resume. Tell me who you are. So it was good. So lead generation. So I'm a life and health licensed guy. So I can sell life insurance, health insurance. My story getting into it is comical, and we may come back to that at some point in time. But about 2 years ago, I got back into life insurance, thinking, hey, I'll do this to kind of add a little extra income, right?
Yeah.
And when I got into it, when I first got into insurance was 20 something years ago, and I found out, oh my God, my wife's pregnant with a kid. And now I'm coming into it with it from a very different angle. Back then, you couldn't buy leads. Now you can. And so
Yeah.
I thought, well, this is going to be so easy. You get me on the phone with somebody, I can do this. It's easy, right?
Yeah.
So I started buying leads, and they were garbage. So you pay all this money for leads, and every time you get on the phone, the person will say, yeah, I don't remember filling that postcard out or filling out that form online. Go suck an egg, or I don't need
Yeah.
insurance. What makes
I
you think you need insurance? So
I get a lot of that.
yeah, so it was rough. And then I got involved with this guy named Terry Grew Up, who has his whole business is called the Live Networker, and he and I became buddies. And turns out he has a system designed to help insurance agents, to help your financial professionals, to help your everybody with what we all want to do. And we want to talk to more people
Yeah.
if we're in a sales environment. And he and I got to chatting about it. I'm like, I like this so much. Let me help you out with that. And what he does is just, it's fantastic. So now I'm in a place where I help insurance agents, your financial planners, your business consultants, your real estate folks all day, every day, with looking good on LinkedIn and having conversations with their niche audience of people. So I get to just help people, and that really appeals to me as a person.
Nice. And what is the exact process that you pretty much can take somebody from a stranger to a customer? Like, how
Yep.
do you help that person?
Good question. So I'm a customer of the system I use. So when I first came into it, Felicia, who is our branding expert, she and she's tough. I mean, she's not like, let me be all sweet and gentle. She's like, no, I'm going to kick you in the balls if you don't do it just right, kind of thing. And maybe not quite that aggressive, but
Yeah,
aggressive.
yeah.
And she said, Doyle, that you think you get along well with everybody, you don't. I mean, there's some people you're going to gravitate to more than other people based on your style,
Yeah.
um, right? And in a group of people you want to interact with. So the very first stage is just having a 2 hour consultation with her. And before I could even get to talk to her about this, she had me fill out this questionnaire. It took me 45 minutes to fill this thing out, and it was
Uh-huh.
detailed, but she had some training to go along with it to help me understand why those questions were important to be answered. So
Uh-huh.
then I went and had a conversation with her. And in that period of time, we realized what kinds of personalities I like, what geographies I like, as far as like, I like Ohio because I'm from Ohio. I like California because the military, I was there, and I was a special agent there in California. I like
Wow.
Texas. There's places I like
Yeah.
based on where I've lived. And so she narrowed all those things down for me. And then from there, within a week, she'd created an artistically designed banner. She had written a copywritten story. And
Wow.
then people work inside of my LinkedIn for me. So I don't do anything on LinkedIn anymore. I mean, our system designed so someone does the work for me. So now what happens, I just go on a calendar and I see I have 5 appointments in a day, and I just hop on the phone. Hey, how you doing? And I just have good phone calls.
Nice, nice. So you have somebody now that pretty much does all that for you, or is it a system?
Our system, LinkedIn Leads for Professionals, is designed in a way that once you're one of our customers, we use a way that one of our employees is working inside your LinkedIn account for you. They're growing your network with that niche audience that you're going to get from having a conversation with our branding person. They're growing your network with those people, and they're messaging them on here as though they're you. They're messaging them saying, "Hey, let's have a chat," or they're texting them. They're hand jamming a message on their computer to get people to want to have a conversation with you. And by the time you have conversations, like I had this guy named Theo when I first started doing this, and he had read my about section, and it made him laugh. Because when I first got into insurance, I had to take this personality profile test.
Yeah.
And the freaking test, when I got done with it said, "Doyle, you hate people." And so I'm trying to get into sales. I'm desperate. I got a pregnant wife at home, and I got this stupid telling me that I hate people. And I've got that in my story on my LinkedIn. And that guy Theo, when he got a phone, you would have thought the guy had known me all his life. And we just started laughing. And from then on, all my calls are warm. The time I get onto a phone call, people are like, they feel like they know you because they've looked at your picture, they've seen your banner, they've read your about section, you've been messaging them, or better yet, someone on my team is messaging them for you.
Yeah.
And
that's so helpful though, because I mean, every day I'm sure business owners don't have the time to be messaging people, and and buying leads sometimes can get expensive, right? And then sometimes you get a batch of bad leads and you're like, darn it, right? And you want to work every single angle, but I mean, me, for example, I don't have time to be messaging. So it goes into my next question. How many conversations a day are these people having?
So for me, is there any way I can share my screen with your setup?
Yep.
And I'll just take you to my
I think you should be able to.
Yeah, right here. Let me see. Share screen. So I'm just going to show you my calendar for this week, right? And I've set up a lot of my calls to being after 2:00. This is the system working for me.
Wow.
So I just hop in here, and let's just say I'm going to have a phone call with Manuel. So I hop on, look at Manuel. Here's his phone number. I call him. And,
nice. And cool. Now with leads, I mean, you can get great leads, you can get bad leads. Now, with a system like that, and I'm sure you'll be honest, like, I mean, I'm sure it's a lot warmer for sure, right? Because they sat there and talked to one of your employees thinking it's you. But what would be pretty much, I think it's called the turnover rate?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm tracking your question on that one. So you're wondering,
the conversion rate. What's the conversion rate?
Good question. So it depends on a person's sales skill. And mine, so every one of my first calls, my goal is not to sell at all. I don't even really want to touch on that in my first call. I want to build rapport. I want to know that person. And I do that for lots of reasons, but for me, it might be a little more. So I've had bad customers in the past, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to sell. So now by taking my time to get
to
rapport, they get to know who I am, and then I get to know who they are, so that I'm not getting bad customers anymore. Because a bad customer will ruin your freaking week, may ruin your whole month, because they'll not only you're just not at a place where you're helping them or they're helping you. And so mindset will get messed up, and then you may find yourself unable to sell just because things went Willy Wonka. So I spent all my first calls just really developing a relationship. And now I'm in a practice where when I'm having conversations, I'm always thinking about how do I advance the person I'm talking to? Because I want to be generous, right? So by having that desire to be generous, it's helping me out, and that's boosted my turnover, as you will. It's made my conversions are better in terms of that. But for me, with the insurance people and the people that I target, most of them are already spending a lot of money on their marketing. I think you once told me, what'd you tell me? You were spending
like 2,000 a week almost.
yeah, some big number. So
On
it's
a good
a little
week, yeah.
harder. It's a little harder for someone who's like, hey, Doyle, I'm spending $2,000 a week. I want to do what you're doing, but I've already committed to this thing that's costing me all this money. So a lot of people in the insurance space sometimes they find themselves in that place.
Yeah.
So for me, like all my calls, my first calls, like 50 or 60% of them turn into second calls. And on that
Nice.
second call, I give them kind of a call to action. Hey, watch this presentation that tells you exactly what I do. So that when we hop on our next call, you can say, I watched that thing. I love it. Let's do it, or I have to wait. And so it's very efficient and kind of the way I do it. And on those second calls, I think it comes out to about 12 to 15% closing is how that breaks down.
Nice. Now, when you think about other lead generation companies, what pretty much separates your system from all these other freaking lead generation people?
Good question. I think
there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
I think one of your questions you got to ask them was, have you ever sold insurance? Have you ever bought a lead of your own? True. I have. I've sold insurance. I've bought leads of my own. I understand the pain and aggravation that you're dealing with. So that's there. I am always on a goal of just being transparent. So I try to make myself transparent. Not even a little bit of my pushy. I mean, how many times have you and I had a conversation? I don't think at any point in time I'm like, Jordy, man, what's happening? So
I can vouch for that.
I know what you're dealing with. I have a sense of what you're after, and we care. I mean, I think that we're simply just people who care about doing the right thing.
For sure. Now, when we start to compare cost, as far as each lead, maybe you may know the answer to this or not, but what are you seeing that each lead, each appointment is costing you on average, right? Because in the insurance world, we might pay $20-$25 a lead. So what are you guys seeing that it's costing? If I was to be your customer, what would it pretty much cost for each lead?
I know that's written down somewhere in our system. I don't know the number off the top of my head. I know that in a quarter, every one of my systems is going to make sure you look good on social media, because you're gonna go through that questionnaire, the 45-minute questionnaire. You're gonna have the 2-hour consultation with Felicia. You're gonna get very hyper focused on who your niche audience is.
Yeah.
And then from there, we're also setting up your CRM to kind of keep your pipeline organized in a way that makes it make sense. And then we're also we're putting the only difference between any one of our systems and the other are the number of leads we promise. So on our launch pad, which is a very starter one, we guarantee you we're going to engage you with 45 new prospects in a quarter. And so in the middle one, we're going to engage you with 90 prospects in a quarter. And then the big one is 140 prospects for a quarter. And our prices are from the low end 1,600 to on the high end 3,100 in a quarter. So you were talking about $2,000 a week. 3,100 in a
1,000 a month.
Yeah, you're spending $1,000 a month. And then the cool thing is, if let's say we get to because we don't know where you're at on how good you've done with your LinkedIn. So you may have just a trash LinkedIn and you've got a trash profile. It's going to take a little while to kind of build you up. And so let's say we get to the end of 3 months and we haven't reached that 140 mark. We're going to keep you on a 4th month or whatever until we've delivered what we promised.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
You have to work the math backwards. Not everyone you talk to is going to be, I'm going to sell you health insurance or I'm going to sell you life insurance annuity. It may be the person that you were talking to is a CPA. You develop such a good relationship with them.
A referral program.
It turns into a referral. So you got a natural neat little referral. So all of your conversations should be, let's build a relationship. Let's build rapport. Let's decide if we sync well enough together. And then let's do things.
Now, how are you grabbing people's attention when your employees send those messages?
You mean like for me when I'm getting on a phone call, or you're talking about how our system is designed?
No, that first message because a lot of these messages go unread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they click it and you're on red.
So the very cool thing about it is we'll message them. We'll message them, and then they'll connect back with us, right? They may say something, and then they dry up and they ghost us, right?
Yeah.
So we still consider those people engaged, but we'll reach out to those people 4 times on LinkedIn. Like, hey, how you doing? Like once a week, we'll come back. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? We'll also text them. So we will text them. Hey, how are you doing? Are you open to have a mutually beneficial call? So we're staying in contact. And really, it's not like how long do I keep these conversations going? It's just the number of touches that helps you build.
Follow up.
It helps you build. Just follow. Exactly. Follow up
Nice.
the number of touches you're doing, and we're very good at this.
Nice. And what do you see as one one issue that you see maybe with the people that you're trying to connect with? Like, what's one of the biggest issues you guys see?
One that I notice a lot, and it's fear. I see fear a lot. Like people are, like you said earlier, there's a million lead generations out there. People sometimes get burned, or they don't get what they're told they're getting, and so they're a little bit afraid. So I do see that, and so that just means that I'm going to have more conversations with them, and then I'm going to build a relationship by maybe let's start off at a lower package until I've earned your trust, and then we'll move you up to packages where you need to be because you need more numbers. You need to be talking to more people. So a lot of times I find that is fear, and then also mindset. I think more people should spend time on developing how they think, and so people don't realize how important it is to invest in themselves, and sometimes they're afraid of investing in themselves.
Now, that takes me to a good point. How do you feel about people saving money versus investing into their business?
I think it's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
So each of us are taught a different way. Like some of us come in where my grandpa spent 30 years working for General Motors, saved his way, got a pension, and depended on that to do it. And so in his case, let's save until we're able to do more. My best friend that I grew up with in Ohio, he's very much a let me save until I can buy what it is I want to buy. Whereas
the Dave Ramsey model.
Yeah, the Dave Ramsey model, exactly. And then you have people who are like me, who are I'm going to invest in myself, and I'm going to invest in myself because I trust that if I'm putting myself out there and spending it, you guarantee I'm going to make it work, and I won't quit until I make it work because I've invested that money into myself. So
now, do you believe
really depends on a person?
Do you believe cash is trash?
No, I do not. Well, I guess no, I don't. Well, I'm not even sure I understand that. So what do you mean by that?
As far as let's save all the money under the mattress or in the bank or.
Oh yeah, then yes, it is. Yeah, I do. I do think cash is trash. Yeah. So I'm glad I asked that question. So yes,
Reserve. And what's a common myth that you see in your industry? Probably the most. A common myth that people have about lead generations.
That we're just here to take your money and not deliver. And that would be a myth. And the other thing that we do is twice a week, we have what are called founders calls, and we're teaching.
Oh, yeah.
So we're teaching you. So today, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays for our customers. Terry, being a business coach, he holds these great lessons. Like today, the question was being able to answer the question, what do you do? Like, Jordy, hey, what do you do? Let's pretend we're in a networking meeting and we're chatting. What do you do? Lots of times people can't give you that 1, 2, 3 minute, hey, I'm Jordy, I'm a healthy guy. I mean, they can't do it. So we're talking about that. And then we're talking about exactly what I mentioned about calls being stop trying to sell. I mean, you want to build relationships. So we're teaching things like that. We're teaching things about mindset. We're teaching how LinkedIn internally works. So we're not going to be doing that if we're like just on fly by night. Let's go away. We're investing in you all the time. You get to spend that much extra time with us.
Nice. Now, what's one thing in your business so far that you've seen that maybe you didn't expect when you started out the whole lead generation thing?
I didn't expect as much time doing mindset training as I've
Oh
done.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was coming like it is, and I've now read lots of mindset books. In fact, I'm looking at this thing called NLP, Neuro Linguistics
Oh yeah, yeah.
Programming.
I've heard of it. I've heard of
Yeah,
it.
so
Tony Robbins, I think,
yeah,
recommends it a lot.
some of those guys. I'm looking at doing some training on that one, just getting trained. So the thing I didn't expect is all the mindset training that I've been taking in.
Now, can you explain a little bit about the NLP?
No, because I don't know enough about
You
it,
know,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
do have a
I've heard
web
about it.
site here that's I got to pull it up because one of my buddies who does he does mastermind training on, and he's got a decent following on Facebook. His name's Michael Fox. I love that guy to pieces, and he does mastermind training a lot of times for the insurance professionals. So
Nice.
he's a super good dude, and he talks about how throughout our lives we're programmed based on kind of our parents saying you're not good at this, or maybe you're
Oh
not
yeah,
good
yeah.
at that, or
Yep.
food is scarce, or I'm going to be in the welfare line, and maybe I can't make more than $30,000 or $40,000 a year. I mean,
No,
there's
I know.
theoretical
I've heard of
programming
that.
we take growing up, and so you have people that do this mastermind training that helps you clear out some of that bad programming that you might have had inside of your life.
Yeah,
So
I've heard of that. Basically, so like kids before they're like 10 years old have heard the word no, millions of times, and they say like that alone just programs you subconsciously to kind of
yeah,
like tell yourself no before you do anything.
yeah, no, it's a real thing. So I'm gonna spend time, and I sent you a link on here on your chat in case you
Cool.
want to share it. And
Yeah,
that's just something I'm looking at today on what is NLP, and I find the mindset stuff to be very interesting.
me too, me too. For the past 3, 4 years, that's pretty much all I've done. Just completely changed my
Mm-hmm.
whole way of thinking.
Yep.
Now you were talking a little bit about a questionnaire
Mm-hmm.
that one of your customers will be taking. I mean,
Right.
I know it's a 45-minute questionnaire, but what are
Mm-hmm.
some things on there that maybe somebody can expect when taking that questionnaire?
Good question, because I did it over a year ago, but what it does is it's asking you questions like, what is your preference towards guys who wear suits that look like they have flowers on them,
Oh man, I'm screwed.
yeah, or something like that. Or I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah,
questions you don't expect, and then there are lots of times where I'm like, I don't even understand this question. So Felicia has like a little 2-minute audio clip on some of those questions to help you understand what she's getting at, which is super cool. So you're kind of getting trained on that, and then I learned through the process that there's like 4 personality, basically
yeah,
personality types, and she's got them color coded based on kind of
yep,
where they fit. And so I know that I get along better with certain kinds of people more so than I do others. And I thought that was garbage, honestly. When I first came into this, I'm like, that mindset stuff. How stupid is that? That's kind of what I thought. And then after having gotten into this, um, I can prove time and time again that we are what we think about. We get what we think about. We do what we think about. It's almost freaky on
yeah,
how that stuff works, but it really
for sure,
is a thing that people should invest in and spend time on.
for sure. Now, what is the what is the real purpose of that questionnaire? Like, what are they trying to get at with that questionnaire?
Coming to knowing your personality, finding out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, finding out, really want to know who your niche audience is, because we want to know based on who you are, like what kind of occupations you'll best get along with. Because when you're going on LinkedIn and you're searching for somebody, it's easier if you search for,
Yeah,
say, an electrician or an accountant or a plumber or whatever the occupation may
yeah,
be, a neurosurgeon, right? So this part of it is helping with your personal branding. So it also helps us figure out where we need to grow your network in, like what kind of people do we want to put in your network. So that's what it's for. It's helping
yeah.
us get to know you better and to be able to develop your brand better and to find out how much work we need to do to help you get better focused on there. Because I don't know, like most people who are going to be listening to this, are they going to be in the insurance field? They're most likely going to be in sales, and salespeople time and time again think, you know what, I get along well with everybody. No, you don't. No, you
But
don't. So that's what our branding helps you with. No, you don't. There are some people you do better with than others, and you'll
now,
be more effective talking to those people.
now, why is it like that though? Like, why can't you just target everybody? Why?
So let's
Why do you have
say,
to be so specific?
because you'll be so much more effective if you're talking to people who are in an occupation that you might know something about. So let's say they're in an occupation that you know something about, or you have some experience in, you can talk to that occupation. You can build a relationship on that occupation. Or let's say they live in a place where you've lived before. You can now talk about that place that they've lived before, because people are only going to do business with you if they know you, like you, and trust you. And so the way to get there is to be working inside of personality types, occupation types, location types.
So it's deep.
You have something you can reference and come back to. And yeah, it's very deep.
Wow.
That one.
Wow. Okay. And let me see here. In your opinion, what is the most important personality trait or strength that someone would need to work in your industry or be successful at your job?
It's going to sound funny to you, but I think love. Genuinely just loving people. I think I'm going to put it out there. I'm a guy who believes in Jesus Christ, right? So I think that one of my more important things is that I need to love other people the way that I love myself. I mean, you've got
now. Why do you think you just don't like people though? Like, why do you see yourself like that? You never came off to me as that.
Well, we're talking about a me that from like 20 years ago. So at that time, I'd gotten out of the Navy. I had started going to school, college, gotten married. About a year later, my wife got pregnant, and it was like, oh my God, I have to do something. And at that time, in the military, I mean, I'd been to many countries, and it's a very competitive kind of a place, but it's more of I was just young and I needed to mature. I mean, I hadn't matured yet, but I knew I needed to provide for my family. So I was just so I am me, focused on that instead of what you should be doing. You're in your insurance field. You're loving people. You're providing for them. Like if something bad happens and they broke their freaking leg or whatever doing that damn crate challenge thing, and they broke their leg. They need to go to the doctor. Well, if they don't have insurance, they're going to pay some huge bill to go to the doctor. Whereas if they went and talked to you, they have a plan that says, even though you're a ding dong and you shouldn't have been doing that crate challenge, you've now got health insurance to help you out, right?
So,
That's funny. The crate challenge.
I made a post yesterday saying y'all out here doing the crate challenge with no health insurance.
Boy. I know it's rude, but I love watching them. They crack me up.
I do too.
They're fantastic.
My friend got on one crate and like acted like he was falling, and he like almost went viral with that video. Pretty much making fun of them. It was hilarious. So we talked about the questionnaire, right? A little bit basically to get to know somebody and kind of find a niche for that specific customer of yours. And then what's the second step after that questionnaire?
So after the questionnaire, they're going to have a meeting with Felicia or one of our other branding people.
Okay. That's to set everything up.
So she's going to spend like 90 minutes to 2 hours getting to know you.
Okay.
That's the next part of it.
Okay. Now, as far as branding, what kind of things are you guys doing on the branding part of it?
On LinkedIn, you have a banner, right? So I'm going to share my screen again. Where is this? Okay, so share screen. I think it's this one. So you see here in the background behind my picture, this thing here is called a banner. So this was created for me, specifically for me, and it says matching insurance agents with genuine networking opportunities to ensure success at your doorstep, right? So they created that after they gave me like 3 samples of different banners to use. I liked this one. And this one, it goes so far as the coloring in there is
Yeah.
also designed for my niche audience. It moves my
Oh,
niche.
really?
Yep.
Wow.
Like little stuff in there that people don't know to think about.
Wow.
There's a tagline, like their tagline is lead generation specialist supporting insurance agents. And then I added the part in there and a fraud fighter, because what people don't realize is that I'm a certified fraud examiner and I investigate
Wow.
fraud, waste, and abuse outside. So
Wow.
that's the thing. That's a
Yeah,
little
we'll get to
different.
that. We'll get to that in a bit.
And then the about section is told by a copywriter who, based on what our team shares with the copywriter, they're going to tell your story. And like right here, you see this right here. Our personality test says you hate people, said the man sitting across from me from Mutual of New York. We can't hire you.
Oh man.
So man, that like boom, it totally catches your attention and has people, they want to read it, and then they're
Yeah.
gonna get here to the call to action. Let's get on my calendar. Let's have a chat.
Nice, nice. Now, you said you help just insurance agents, or are you also helping other industries as well?
Other industries as well. So you have your your financial advisors. Like these are
Okay.
people who have their Series 7, their Series 6, their Series 63. We help realtors, real estate
Okay.
agents.
Okay.
I've had some business coaches as clients. Um, really, anybody who has a need for customers and networking would be smart to know me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not something that somebody would just get for 3 months and then kind of be done, because you're still going to need customers
That's right.
afterwards.
That's right. So 3 months, and then we don't automatically sign you up for the next 3 months. We ask you, hey, Jordy, do you want to stay on with us another 3 months? Has this been effective for you? Is there something we
Of
could have done
course.
better? So we don't just automatically assume. We ask
Of
you.
course.
And I had this guy, Greg, love him to pieces. He's with us for 6 months, and he left us at 6 months. And I'm like, hey, Greg, why are you leaving us? He's like, Doyle, you gave me too many leads. I can't keep up with all the leads you gave me. And so he left because he's just so freaking busy from
Yeah.
his own business stuff they had going on.
I need 6 months. A
Yeah,
break. I need a break.
yeah. So he needed a break. But then the cool thing is that he referred me over to this other organization that I think we're going to do a lot of
Yeah.
business with. So
Nice.
very cool.
Nice. And what's one of the underrated tools um, that people just don't use when looking for leads that you can pretty much think of?
Phrase that differently. So
Yeah. So basically, if somebody was looking for leads, what's an underrated tool that people just aren't using out there that maybe they
LinkedIn.
should be using? LinkedIn.
Yeah, people
And,
just don't realize it. LinkedIn
yeah.
is a wonderful source for doing business.
And why do you feel LinkedIn is so powerful?
Because you're dealing with business professionals. You're dealing with so Facebook is also very powerful. So I'm not taking anything away from Facebook. In fact, my banner on my LinkedIn, I use it on my Facebook. So I mean, that's not the way it's designed, but I did it anyway because I liked it.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn is so good. So I'm just going to go back with what you do with the health insurance, right? You
Yeah.
probably wouldn't mind selling some group health insurance policies. Am I wrong? Would you be mad selling your group insurance policy? Probably
To
not.
businesses, no.
Yeah. So how do you get to businesses? An easy way to get to businesses are on LinkedIn. So you're going to get to businesses, you're going to develop that relationship with them, and they're going to want to do stuff with you. They're going to want to work with you based on your personality and what you're bringing in. So LinkedIn gets you in front of the decision makers of companies, of organizations, or you're going to meet that person in there who's needing health insurance and they just didn't know where to go. Mm-hmm. Or you meet somebody who didn't realize that health insurance is as. So some people always think insurance is like 3 times more expensive than what it really is. And then they find
complicated.
They've complicated it. You're able to uncomplicate it, and you're able to save them money. And then you become their friend. But the way you get there is you go to LinkedIn first to start building relationships with people.
Now, do you think somebody on LinkedIn should have like a personal profile, or should it be a company profile? And you get my question? So like, should I have a Louisiana group profile and be contacting everybody from there, or does it work better when they see the suit with the flowers and things like that?
I like it better with the person versus organization of the company. I like the personal approach. Like my picture before the one that's on there now was back in the day when I used to be a special agent, and so I was in a suit, right, with a red power tie. I'm looking all mean, and I'm fit, right. I'm a little chubby, but I'm a little fit. I'm looking all mean, and so Felicia's like, Doyle, I've met you. You're so friendly. You've got to get rid of the mean, hateful picture on there, like you're ready to hurt somebody. So
yeah,
and
for sure.
It just comes across better because people get a real sense of who you are. So I'm a fan of just be authentic.
For sure. Now, are you guys only doing LinkedIn? I don't know if you
Yes.
said that already. Only
Yes,
LinkedIn?
only LinkedIn.
Okay. And why did you guys just choose only LinkedIn? If there's
Because
like all these
it's
other
so effective. It's just
so
so
effective.
effective, and a confused mind doesn't do as many things as it could do. So we don't want to confuse you by saying let's use Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever else is out there. We're very effective on LinkedIn. Let's keep it simple and stay with what we're very effective at.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you pretty much have appointments like every day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. As many appointments as I want, I can have. I mean, at some point in time, you're going to have so many connected leads and stuff like that, or people who said, hey, can you go into my calendar and schedule it? And we'll have a thing that's an alternate booking. So you just go in there and go to their Calendly and you schedule that appointment. Or you were talking about things that are underutilized. I thought you were going to ask me, like, what's an underutilized tool in our business?
Yeah.
This thing right here. They should call this thing an ATM machine. I mean, it kind of is. Make phone calls. Don't be afraid. Get on the freaking phone and call somebody. And in our case, everyone we're putting in your world, they're already going to be warm. So you can just kind of call and say, hey, I'm Jordy. You and I are connected on LinkedIn. Not going to take up a bunch of your time, but yet can you tell me when's the time where we can hop on a 15, 20, 30-minute phone call next week? Yeah. And people are like, yep, give me 1 minute. Okay. How about next Thursday at 7 p.m.? Sure. Let's do it.
That easy.
It's that easy. So you can have in my case, I can have as many appointments as I want. And I typically try to have anywhere from 20 to 25 appointments a week.
Wow.
So that's kind of where I'm at, but that's because I've been using the system now for a year. So it takes a little while to build momentum.
Yeah.
Like in your first quarter, you just might be a little slower, but after that, LinkedIn starts letting you connect with more people and do more. And at some point, you're just like, man, I've got so many leads here. I don't know what to do with them all.
Now, how do you guys get around the whole? Because sometimes I'm adding people to LinkedIn, and it like tells me, oh, I can't add more than 15 people at a time.
Yeah, so LinkedIn will put you in LinkedIn police if they think you're doing too much activity at one time.
Yeah.
We know how much activity you're allowed to do, just based on interactions and experience. And a lot of us use the Sales Navigator. Like, I don't know if you've ever used Sales Navigator, but it's a pretty powerful feature.
Yeah.
And really, anybody who comes in with me, I'm going to give them a month. I can send anybody a referral from my own Sales Navigator and gives them a month free for using. And in that month, that Sales Navigator, LinkedIn kind of eases up some of its restrictions and allows us to jump faster and build you up a little quicker.
Nice. So you took us through the questionnaire. You took us through the branding, the consultation, and then what was after that? That somebody could expect?
After that, so we're going to send you the banners to choose from. We're going to tell you what to put on your LinkedIn. You're going to put it on there. You tell us when you say the word go. And when you say the word go, let's get this thing started. That's when your quarter begins. Like, your quarter doesn't begin as soon as we start having a conversation.
Okay.
Your quarter begins when you say go. And at that point in time, we start growing your network and messaging people and getting them on your calendar.
Nice.
So
now
with getting them on your calendar.
Okay, now with the banner, can I add like my own touch to the banner, or they pretty much come up with?
So when you're having a conversation with Felicia or Sarah,
bring it up.
Bring it up. Say, hey, I really want, and you just name something that I really like this thing. What do you think? And she'll say, hey, based on my knowledge of branding and she's got way more knowledge than you do, or I do, most likely, most of the time. And she's gonna say, "Hey, I think that would work. Let me look at this." So we do our best to be. Well, we want to be customer friendly, so we're going to try to be helpful. Yeah.
So how many people could somebody expect to be working with at one time?
What do you mean? Like how many?
Yeah, like if I became a customer, how many people could I expect to be working with from your team at one time?
Of course, you'd interact with me because I'm the sales guy. After me, you're going to be working with our branding people, which is Felicia or Sarah. And of course, you're going to be working with Terry. So Terry's a business coach, and he's been a business coach for many years.
Okay.
So business coaching comes for free as a part of working with us. So you have that as a built-in feature. So it's going to be me. There's going to be Felicia. There's going to be Terry. And then there's a possibility that you may need some customer service, and we have a customer service person who will help you out. So
now is somebody going to have numbers, or is it going to be an email thing? Because I hate the whole email thing.
What do you mean by the email thing?
So I don't know, like Robinhood, the app, like you can't get in touch with nobody.
Oh no. So when you come in, we kind of create your own individual office space. And inside of there, we have a tab that says help. And on that help thing, you can go in there and kind of type in what you want. Or there's a number there that you can text.
Okay.
You can text what you want. And within 24 to 48 hours, one of us is going to be calling you. Or actually, not Terry is going to be calling you, or the customer service person will be calling you.
Okay. So it's definitely customer user friendly.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. So tell us a little bit about how Doyle grew up.
Okay. Good question. So I grew up in Ohio, in a kind of a. Well, actually, I lived in a number of places. By the time I got to kindergarten, I'd been in 3 different kindergartens. So Kentucky, down to kind of like just backwoods parts of Kentucky, and then we moved up to Ohio. So I was in primarily grew up in Ohio, sometimes in Kentucky, but Ohio is where I grew up. Grew up in a little town out there, kind of more of a farming thing. So there was times where you'd be doing farm work, or I once baled hay, and the guy thought I did such a crappy job I didn't get invited back.
What?
Baling hay. That's a job I didn't want to do again anyway. It was rough. It was tough. And then
you still got the tan from it.
Yeah, I still got the tan, still burnt from that experience 30 years ago. So I grew up there, and then got to go to the Navy. So the Navy gave me an opportunity to leave that because the town I grew up in had one stoplight. So it was small. And so we had one light in the whole town. And so the Navy gave me an opportunity to leave that town and go to San Diego. And I had a great time in San Diego. And then I got to go to Japan, Hong Kong, Korea, Thailand. And I got to see Mexico. And I got to see some cool places, all by the time I was like 21, 22 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did you do in the military?
I did 4.5 active, and then I did 8 years in the Navy, between active duty, Navy, and Navy Reserves. I took a 6-year break, and then I'm still in the Air Force Reserves, and I've been in for about 14 years. So I've got almost 22 years total military time in now.
Wow, much respect. Now, I do want to ask you one question. Mm-hmm. With one light in a city, like, where do people shop? Like, is there like
it was called.
I mean, I know you're growing your own food, but like, what if
we had
it's not grown yet?
We had a little grocery store where I worked at. So I worked as a bag boy at a grocery store. We had like the occasional a family restaurant. I think it was called Family Restaurant. It's like a restaurant there in town. But I mean, you could drive 20, 30 minutes to get to whatever you wanted.
Still drive. You're still
driving to get to places, but we did. So I mean, it worked out pretty cool. And there's always pizza places around. So so you can always find somewhere. So I've been a pizza delivery boy. I've been a bag boy.
Wow.
You ever see those? I was once I heard something up on the roof of a grocery store I worked at. So I'm up there trying to figure out what it is I'm hearing. I about fell out of this daggone thing. So I come out and I managed to grab hold of this thing, and these people are grabbing their milk carts. They just see this young 16, 17-year-old kid like practically ready to fly on top of them, landing on.
Oh my
I
God.
about fell out of that freaking ceiling.
It's funny because when you say one city in a, in a town or whatever, I
Mhm.
picture like a Michael Myers movie, out there with nothing but just farmland. So you were telling us a little bit about a couple of jobs that you've had in the past.
Yes.
So you've worked with hay, still got the tan from it.
Mhm.
The bag boy, the pizza. What
Mhm.
what other kind of jobs have you had in the past?
So worked for Mutual of New York, selling life insurance, annuities, variable universal products. Um, I worked for the IRS, which surprises a lot of people. I spent
Wow.
12 years of my life working for the Internal Revenue Service. And
Wow.
my last job with them was I was a tax collector. So the job title is
Nice.
called revenue officer, but it was really tax collector. So I'd come out to your house and I'd say, "Hey, Jordy, you owe $5,000. Give me a check for $5,000."
What?
Or you'd say, I don't have it. And I'm like, "Well, here's a lien on your property." Uh,
Oh man.
and so I would come and take your money. And if you wouldn't do it, I'd know where you're banking. So I just go to your bank, say, "Hey, I gave this guy 2 months to pay. He didn't do it. I want it." So they would
Wow.
so yeah, I got to do that. So I
You
got to do
fit.
that.
You look like
Yeah,
you fit that job. Like
yeah,
you just hard body with it.
yeah. I loved it. I loved it. It was so much fun. So I would just go take I just go take their whatever it
So
was I
much
needed
fun.
to do the job.
Nice.
And then I was a special agent with the Treasury Department, kind of policing the IRS.
Wow.
So that was kind of cool and kind of also keeping them safe. I worked for an IT firm as an investigator where I got fired because
How'd you get?
I told them one of their products, like, "Hey, evaluate this product that we think all investigators are going to want." So I did it. I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, "This thing's way confusing. It's garbage. I don't like it." I got fired within a week. About a week later, I had
Oh man,
my walking papers, and
that's funny.
and then I've been an investigator for the Department of Labor and the Department of Agriculture. So
Wow.
I've gotten to do some cool stuff throughout the years.
I thought about doing the private investigator. I think you got to go to school, like a
No,
bachelor's.
you could actually get hired by a private investigator, and you spend so much time with him and letting him or her train you. And at some point in time, you could take that training elsewhere. I don't. If you went out to do it on your own, yeah, you probably would need a bachelor's. But I think
Yeah.
to go out underneath somebody as like their apprentice, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I thought about it back then. Not anymore. I'm happy where I'm at.
good, good.
Now, what was the difference from the IRS, the reinforcer, to working for the Treasury? What was the
So
difference there?
totally different organizations with different missions. So where I was at the IRS, my mission was to collect taxes or to get
Hmm.
people to file their taxes. The other job was to make sure that fraud wasn't being committed. So I was making sure
Mm.
people were on the up and up, and then also if people were making threats against the IRS, it was my job to go out and tell them that's not all right. We're going to fix this problem. Don't threaten us,
Wow.
um,
Wow.
kind of thing.
Hardcore job for sure. And what do you say one of your best childhood memories is?
Grandpa,
Yeah.
my mom's dad was probably one of my favorite childhood memories. So he couldn't not go somewhere without me trying to be right behind him. And he once thought he was so smart, he thought he'd get up early enough to go to this little restaurant called Druthers, and it's in Kentucky. I heard the old man's footsteps, and boom, I was right there on him. And he's like,
Sounds like my son.
"Yeah," he's like, he thought that he thought he was getting out without me, but it was like it wasn't ever happening. So best memories of Grandpa.
Nice, nice. And what's been your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that experience?
Biggest failure. Wow, man. I've had so many of them. I could write books on failures. I mean, I really have. Um, what would be the bigger one is
And what'd you learn from it that maybe the audience could
um,
learn from?
I guess probably up until maybe the last 10 years, I've decided to just kind of change my tune and my attitude. I mean, I think I've always been a relatively good guy with a desire be good.
Yeah.
But there's just been a whole lot of self-centeredness in my behaviors. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to do it
Everybody
for
goes
me.
through that.
Trying to do it for
Yeah.
me. And I wasn't making the progress that I make now just because I want to give. I mean,
Yeah.
I find it, even though I'm giving away more, I get back more.
Of
So that
course.
would, the successes would be anytime I look back to times where I've been selfish
Of course.
versus and having learned selfishness doesn't really pay off.
Of
What
course.
does pay off is just doing good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but sometimes I do feel like in certain parts of your life,
Hmm.
you have to be selfish sometimes.
Hmm.
Sometimes you do have to learn to say no, right?
Hmm.
I mean, you can't just be your whole life just yes, 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 yes. I feel like I've been there, and
Hmm.
then 2, 3 years later, I'm like, wow, I didn't do anything for me in my life. I've been
Hmm.
doing for everybody else, and now I'm the one stuck, and nobody's thinking about me.
Hmm.
So in certain situations, I do feel like it is needed, but
Hmm.
I'm totally with you as far as giving and just
Hmm.
going back. You
Hmm.
get 100 times more from that, for
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
Now, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be? I think I'm gonna remember you as
Yeah.
the agent. You just look like a IRS agent for sure. I'm telling you.
Well, IRS is so Treasury is not necessarily IRS. So
Or
when I
Treasury. You just look like a badass hardcore agent.
I wasn't there. I wasn't in the IRS in that at that time.
Okay.
But it was a different Treasury department. But if people were to remember me for anything, I would want them to remember me as somebody who does good and loves others.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah.
And how would you're still married?
Yes.
How
Yes.
would your wife describe what you do now?
She'd probably say I'm a little bit of a workaholic, honestly. So kind of what you're talking about. Yes, yes, yes. You'd probably say I'm a little bit of a workaholic.
How did you guys meet?
I like doing this, so this is fun for me. So
Yeah, for sure.
she would say I'm maybe a little bit of a workaholic. Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
In San Diego. So when I was in the Navy, I tried hitting
Nice.
on her, and she said, "She's like, I don't like military guys." She says,
What? No way.
"She's like, I do not like
Come
military
on.
guys." And then she was finishing up her bachelor's degree. I hadn't even started going to college yet, and she's like, I don't like uneducated men." Um, so she's like dapping me,
She's
right?
hitting you hard.
And then she's like, "How old are you?" I'm like, "I'm 22. How old are you?" She's like, "I'm 30." She's like, I don't like young guys either."
Joke's on her.
I'm like, "You're it." And that was
That's
23.
funny.
That was 23 years ago. So
Wow.
the time has passed
Nice.
in there. Yeah,
Nice, man. Nice. Now, if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
like yourself more. Yeah, have more confidence. Like yourself more. Yeah,
Yeah,
start working on that. Taking some of that mean stuff that you might have dealt with and accept it as the garbage it is. Like yourself more.
for sure. Now, what does your morning routine usually look like
My
for
morning
Mr.
routine is
Doyle Cook?
so I try to get up early, and we had a joke about that. This goal is to get up early, drink some coffee, and then I'm going to spend maybe 30 minutes an hour just talking to my wife before she goes off to her job to doing what she's doing. And I'm always like, we can't do that because your butt can't wake up, right?
Yeah,
No, not true. It's me that can't wake up. So I don't want to get up. But then once we do, I usually drink coffee. She goes off to work, and then I spend time reading the Bible, listening to worship music, kind of trying to get my mind set right. So I try
nice,
to spend my mornings. I'm trying to spend with God
nice,
before I get my youngest son up for school and kind of see him out the door.
nice.
That's what my morning routine looks like.
I try to do the same, man, but
Yeah.
I freaking can't. Sometimes I just can't, Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it just like goes over me, but I'm with you on that. At least 15 minutes a day, just read something.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with that. And what is a funny story that your family tells about you that you'd like to share?
Oh, I've got lots of those too. So, and I'll just go back to my being a kid. So, my grandpa, my uncles, everybody said that I was the kid who would not shut up. So just always talking. And so
Really? Wow.
I would ask them if they couldn't come up with something. I'm like, why is the sky blue? Why is the water? They say water's supposed to be blue. It's green. Explain that to me. Why this? Why that? I was like the why kid. I wanted to know why about
You're
everything.
curious. You were curious, though.
And they would ask me, son, do you ever shut up? I mean, I remember Grandpa
Oh,
asked me
man.
that. He asked me that once, like, do you ever shut up? And,
That's funny. No, but that just means that I mean, look at everything you've done in life. You know what I mean? You're curious. You
yeah.
like to learn new skills and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much. I would be worried if a kid doesn't ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if a kid is not curious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I tell my mom all the time with that. Like my mom says, your kids are just wild. They're curious. They want to open everything. They want to touch everything. And I'm like, I think that's signs of them being smart, right? Because they're curious and they want to know what's out there in the world. So just let them be kids.
Yeah. Well, my middle kid, when she was young, she liked going inside of cabinets, man. Like could not
Mine
keep
does too.
could not keep her out of
Mine
cabinets.
does too.
I always had to like lock all. I had to buy all those things to kind of keep the freaking.
I got rubber bands on them right now.
Yeah, it was bad. Like she everywhere we went, she was like climbing in the cabinets. It was the trippiest thing ever.
Now, talk to us about a couple skills that you've taken from your past jobs to your lead generation business now.
The biggest skills I've taken are there's just so many things I could talk about from different jobs. So I've been a bag boy. I've been a pizza delivery boy. I got fired from McDonald's once.
You did? How you get fired? No, I'm playing.
Yeah, no, I called a boss a name that shouldn't have been said. And, that was like
It's
my
all
very first, like
one of your first
job.
Yeah.
So I was like 16. And so I can talk about working in those jobs. I can talk about working in an IT field. I can talk about so many different military things.
I guess we could say your biggest skill that you probably learned, or one of the most important skills.
Relatability.
Yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
I can relate to pretty much anything, like like various occupations. I can very easily, I guess, almost be like a chameleon in a sense, because I understand from having worked in different fields. And when you're an investigator, like I've been, like as a criminal investigator, I have to get acquainted with lots of different types of businesses. So I have to get in and ask questions. I have to understand what they're doing. And so I'm very good at the bringing up questions, which I think you're doing a fantastic job, by the way.
Thank you.
With your questioning. So those jobs created in me a sense that I can relate well and I can build rapport well.
Nice. Now, do you think somebody that doesn't maybe have that chameleon-like personality or skill can still be successful in business?
Absolutely. They have to up their observance, their ability to observe things. So for instance, let's just say you and I were having this as a Zoom meeting and I didn't know anything about you. Well, I do know that you have kids and there used to be, or there is, a woman that matters to you based on that picture in the background. Yeah. So everybody has seen a baby. Like they may not be a dad or a mom, but they've all seen a baby. Like they've probably been a brother, they've probably been a sister, they've probably been a cousin. So we have something to talk about. So if I knew nothing about you, I would talk about you're a family man, right? And then I'd have you, and then I shut up, right? And I let you start talking and feeding me enough information that I can start building a rapport with you.
For sure. Now, do you think you're born with that skill, or do you think somebody can learn it?
I think it's all learned.
It's all learned.
I really think it's all learned
from experiences, right?
Yep. Yeah. I think we pick it up, and then a desire to know others. So I think you have to have a desire and you have to have a vision for it. But if you have those things, it's all learned.
For sure. And how do you feel about people failing?
I think it's awesome.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah. I think failure at the time you're going through it is horrible.
Sucks.
I mean, it is bad being at a place where you're like, oh my God, I gave up that thing. Now I don't have any income, but I've got this spouse and these children waiting on me to provide for them, and I can't. What did I just do? but then that'll light a fire under you. You're like, well, I can't give up. Got to go push and do. And so failure, I think, is awesome because it pushes you to do more, and it teaches you what else you're capable of.
I agree 100%. Now, before I let you go, just a couple questions. What are 3 books you would recommend to my audience and why?
3 books. So funny you should ask that. One of them is called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace.
Love it.
I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's a
I've read it.
In fact, right here. So I'm putting it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
I'm putting it by the door because I haven't read it yet today, and I'm on this 90-day challenge to read 4 chapters in it. And there's this. Today will put me at day number 88, so I'm close. But if I don't read it, I got to go back to day 1 and start all over again.
Oh man,
I don't want to do it.
But honestly, you'll learn something new that maybe you didn't learn the first time.
I will, but this thing's got 4 really good chapters, and 2 of them are about being grateful and increasing other people. Yeah. So that would be one that I would highly recommend. Another thing I would recommend, but it's not necessarily a book, is called The Strangest Secret in the World by Earl Nightingale. And I think I might have shared that with you before, but you can go to YouTube.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Earl Nightingale, Strangest Secret in the World. And it's awesome. Like this guy's got an amazing voice. He's from like the 1950s or before that, like a long time ago. But he talks about you are what you think about all day long. And so he talks about the power of your mind. I definitely recommend that. And that's like a 30-day challenge to listen to that on a daily basis. So I like challenges. So I'm looking for challenges. And then a guy had me thinking about a book I haven't read in a while, but it's one that most people wouldn't even think about. I mean, I never would have heard of it. It's I got to pull it out over here. It's called The Skilled Pastor. And this thing right here, the thing I would take out of it is the myth of perfectionism. And people get so wrapped up thinking things just got to be perfect. And then they'll miss out on all the other little gifts that are there. And so that part about wiping out the myth of perfectionism is cool.
Now, do you think somebody can like completely delete that out of them trying to be perfect?
No,
right?
Yeah. I mean, I can't.
I know. That's why I asked that, because I can't either.
Yeah, and I try. But between that and The Strangest Secret in the World, one of the things he'll talk about is we'll sometimes get tweaked up with like bad thoughts, right? Or negative thoughts, like, oh my God, I'm not good enough, or I just not there, or whatever. And a trick to that one is just pretending like that is another voice, like it's just something altogether not you.
Shut it off.
And you like, negative voice, go away, leave me alone, get out of my life, go move. And you're doing it on a regular basis. I think stuff like that does help.
For sure. Now, what would be one question you wished I'd ask you, and how would you have answered?
Woo. That's good. Yeah. That is one question I wish you would have asked me.
And how would you have answered?
Okay. Do I still sell insurance? Would be a question that if I were you, I would ask. Do I still sell insurance? My answer would be not really. Not unless it's like somebody that I know well needing it. Yeah. Most of the time, my customers that I bring into my world, if they sell health insurance or property and casualty or life insurance, I refer the business to them, and then I let them give me a referral fee on it because I'm licensed already. So they're able to do that.
Nice. Now, last question. We've been talking to your potential customers the whole hour, but I always like to ask my guests on the last question is, for somebody that's maybe 15, 16, 17 in high school, and marketing is like a thing now, it's like it's open, like it's really like started to boom. Like everybody wants to be that marketer, that lead generation guy or girl. What's maybe one thing that you would tell that teenager who says, you know what, I want to do, marketing for companies and for people and things like that.
I would tell them to go for it. Would be something I would say go for it, and don't be afraid of failing, and also don't mind working underneath somebody, even if they don't pay you well. Don't mind working underneath them because you'll pick up so much.
Oh yeah,
So those would be some of my recommendations.
for sure, for sure. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much, Doyle. I know you're super busy, but thank you for taking this hour to come on here and share your business and share with people how you can help them. Um, and yeah, man, anything you need, I'm here for you. Okay.
Sounds good, Jordy. It's good talking to you.
Awesome, Doyle. Take care. We'll talk soon. All right.
See ya. Bye.
All right, guys. So there you have it, Mr. Doyle Cook. Always a pleasure to see that guy. Um, so yeah, I mean, if anybody needs help with lead generation, especially you business owners out there, it's so important that you guys get leads coming into your funnel every single day. Work with him, test him out, see how he can help you guys out, see how you guys can elaborate or collaborate and help your business grow. I mean, that's the number one thing in business today is finding customers. So yeah, guys, and as always, if you don't like your health insurance plan currently, give me a call. If you just don't have it because you think it's too expensive, give me a call. And until next time.